Okay. So this is the my department, the Pritzker School of Molecular Engineering. And molecular engineering is a very confusing term for a lot of people because it doesn't fall into the traditional disciplines of chemical engineering, material science, and mechanical engineering, which all of us have the degrees in. That's kind of what the department focuses on. So the whole idea is you can build anything for molecules. So really understanding molecules from the ground up allows you to build, polymers or plastics, allows you to build engines for whatever application you care about. And so a lot of our students come from different areas. So we have predominantly people coming from chemical engineering. So that's why it makes sense for me to be a professor here. We have people coming from physics, material science, chemistry. We have like quote unquote other engineering. So but mechanical engineering also fits into this picture. And we have, to make things more confusing for people who are not from the University of Chicago, we operate in terms of teams, not departments. So once you come into our school of molecular engineering, you kind of like, if you're interested in energy, sustainability, you are put in this theme of material system for energy and sustainability. If you're interested in quantum, so a lot of our physics students work in quantum engineering. If you're interested in the bio part, immune engineering, but this is very interdisciplinary, and we have very significant collaborations with the National Lab. So we have one of the scientists at the National Lab in Wike that will also talk about that experience. So I have 2 slides about what I do, so that you have the goal is not for me to be talking too much during this workshop, but this is what I do. I work on energy storage. More significantly, understanding transport in energy storage and electrocatalytic media. So this is a schematic of a lithium-ion battery, the battery that is powering the devices you're using to connect to this workshop right now. I don't want to go too much into detail, but there are 3 dominant components of a battery. So you have what is called the anode, the negative electrode, and in your phone right now it's graphite. And in the cathode, there is some transition metal oxide that allows you to intercalate lithium and de-intercalate lithium. So that's allow lithium to come in and allow lithium to go out. But my group tends to focus a lot on this part in the middle. So it allows ions to transport from the 2 electrodes. So we're very interested in that. And what we do, we synthesize. So we have chemists in the group that allow us to synthesize new electrolytes. So here we're interested in making the electrolytes that conduct ions, but also are stable. So sometimes you see that those 2 things tend to fight against one another. So this is some of the new molecules that we've made and that are quite interesting. We also use different tools to study these electrolytes when we put them inside batteries. And so this is a technique that we're very partial towards in the lab. So it's nuclear magnetic resonance. So if you heard of MRI, it's the same kind of technology. And this allows us to understand when we deposit lithium on a surface and remove lithium, how efficient that process is. And we can study that while the battery is running. So that's really amazing for us to be able to do that. So this is the last slide on kind of what we do. So I think I call our lab like a vertically integrated lab. So I told you that we synthesize new materials, but how do you get ideas for what to synthesize? So we've been leaning heavily on using data science. So that's this part to give us new ideas. So if I know something has worked in the past, can you tell me what could work now? Now that I know the limitations of electrolyte number 1 and number 2. So then I can go into the lab and I can make that new material. So that's what I showed in the previous slide. We can understand that material, watch the heat response of that material to understand degradation processes. And then we can put it inside a battery, or we can use it to study a reaction like CO2 conversion. So all of these revolves around fundamentals that everyone in this workshop is aware of. So transport, ion transport, mass transport, heat transfer, all of these things get repackaged into different applications, but we're all speaking the same language. Okay, so this is the last thing. So have a research team. So you will really understand by the end of the workshop, like what these kind of classifications do for you. So we have they have 3 PhD students and a master's student, we have a postdoc, and they have a lot of undergrads who are working on different aspects of this work. Some of our undergrads, because of the pandemic, are working remotely, so focusing a lot on the data science aspect. But in the future, hopefully, you are, when another professor presents this kind of list of research teams, you can find yourself here as a future graduate student. Okay, so now to the workshop. So the main motivations for the workshop is, I think, primarily to provide information to you. We tend to see that a lot of the information that we know about the process is having gone through it ourselves and finding nooks and crannies for where this information exists. So we've accumulated like really amazing graduate students, postdocs, and also people that are currently working in having a career that can provide information about the process. And what you get to see is that a lot of these people who will be presenting in the panels have helped other Nigerian undergraduates before in the past. So they're really attuned to the process. Allows you to prepare for graduate programs, especially in the US, and also especially for US engineering programs. And then hopefully build networks. So the reason I added all the LinkedIn profiles is for you to see if somebody really fits your profile and really can help you out. And we have a mini, 10-minute social that maybe you can introduce yourself to that person. But the goal, hopefully at the end, is not to send that person a very unpolished SOP. It doesn't help you out. It doesn't help that person out. So you need to have learned about what you should do and use your own network to read your SOP, for example, before you send it out to these people, because they don't have time to guide you from scratch. But I'm sure most of them will be willing to help you when you have something ready. This is the structure. So really asked most of you to kind of mute your audio and video, especially all our students. And you can ask your questions like you've been doing using the chat function. I'll try to, luckily I won't be talking for too much, so I'll try to monitor that. And we have what's called breakout rooms for the student PhD presentations and a break. Breakout rooms can be finicky. So if you for some reason leave the meeting, just join back on. And for the breakout rooms, we'll allow you to select the breakout room that you want to join. So that allows you to go to the different talks. So we have 3 talks. Just before the breakout room session, I'll reintroduce the speakers and what each of those talks will discuss, and then you can decide what you want to, which one you want to attend. Okay, so that is all from me. I will stop sharing. So we'll be introducing the first panel.